الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Al-Imam Muslim collected a hadith on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He said that there was a woman in Medina that used to live in Al-Awali. Awali are neighborhoods in the eastern and the southern side of Medina. And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq used to live in one of those areas. And usually at the time, they were known for their farming of date trees. But she was one of the poor people in Medina, and she was a black lady. She did not have any family in Medina, and she used to come to the Masjid of the Prophet ﷺ to clean it. And she got sick, and she passed away. And the people brought her at night. She passed away at night, so they brought her to the Masjid of the Prophet ﷺ, but it was already late. Prophet ﷺ already went to bed, so they did not want to wake him up. So they buried her. A few days passed. Prophet ﷺ asked about her, and they said, Ya Rasulullah, she passed away. And we buried her, and we did not want to wake you up because it was too late and you were already in bed. He said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you should have woken me up to be with you. And then he says, come with me. And then the Sahaba that were present went with the Prophet to her grave. And then he led Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam the Janazah prayer. And then he said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that the grave site, meaning in the realm of the Barzakh. The Barzakh is the actual life that we all are gonna go to, which is right after this worldly, materialistic, sensory life. We are gonna go into the realm of the Barzakh through the bridge and the channel and the vehicle of death. And he says, that people in their grave, in their Barzakh, they have it dark. If they have it dark around them, my prayer for them turn it into light. Subhanallah. In this hadith, subhanallah, there are quite many benefits. One is how civic engagement and participation in the public space is something that is lost on a lot of us. This lady who is marginalized literally in society, she does not have any family that she's recognized for, and she was poor, and she lived by herself, and yet she saw an opportunity to be of service to the community, and that is to clean the masjid. How many of us think of this? It's very important to never belittle the very small things that we can do in our own capacities to be of service to the community. Public and civic engagement and participation is far more rewarding, as the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in so many instances, that concept of having the reward through the channel of acts of worship vertically with Allah, salah, siyam, versus horizontally, and that is to be of service to the public. The good deeds and the good engagement and participation in civic life and public space is far more rewarding to the person. So much so that the Prophet ﷺ recognized this lady, and her name is Mihjan or Mihjana. There's a difference, but she was well known for Mihjan. And she is not known as a figure within society, but the Prophet ﷺ, does not miss on being connected with everyone, which leads us also to be an encouragement to one another, with our own capacities, whether with our words of encouragement, or with a dua, supplication for one another, and recognition of one another's effort to participate and being engaged in a public space, be it the masjid. And in the masjid, there's so many opportunities. Their maintenance in every local masjid, since that they are not being financed and sponsored by the government or by any other entities, except that it is public donation based and public participation based, then look for an opportunity in your local masjid or any masjid, and be a person who participate in being of service in many, many different capacities, whether that is financially or with your professional expertise that you can offer as well. There's so many areas that we can be of service to one another, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given and gifted each and every one of us with our God-given gifts. And let those gifts be invested in public service, and especially the immediate community of the Muslims through the masjid, through programs. If it is engineering, and Allah Ta'ala bless you in the engineering field to be of service to the community, use that for your own favor. Because when the Prophet ﷺ says, اعملوا فكل ميسر لما خلق له, always be proactively ready to do the work, because each and every one of you has his own God-given gifts that Allah Ta'ala wants you to use, not only to be of service to yourself and your family, but extend that to the public space, whether that is financially, intellectually, with your own efforts, being part of organizations that bring good to the community, the immediate Muslim family that you have in your community, and extends beyond also the Muslims. This is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us leadership. And when he said that you were the best nation ever to be brought forth to mankind, because you are always engaged in and always participating on a small to a larger scale. And we should not confuse, subhanallah, participating with perfectionism, because a lot of times if I can't have it done perfectly as I had it imagined in my mind, then there is no sense of making the effort. No, the Sahaba used to give sadaqah in the form of half of a date. Would you and I do that? Would you want to give somebody half a date? You will fail. You will think that it is shameful to do that, and it is insulting for somebody to just give him half a date. Aisha radiallahu anha, the best faqiha, she's a jurist, subhanallah, deep understanding. That's what she used to do. And even the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, safeguard yourself from the punishment of the fire, even if it is with half of a date or a date. In other words, very little expertise that you think that don't mean anything, they do have significance and value and worth in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he made the comparison in the area of giving sadaqah, and he says sometimes 1 dirham, $1, is better in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as far as reward goes than 1,000 dirham or a dollar. And how is that possible? When it comes to numbers, it doesn't make any sense. But it is what is attached to that dollar versus the $1,000 as far as the intention goes and the sincerity that goes with that dollar versus the $1,000. Do not underestimate the little thing that you can be of service to the community with. Whatever potentials, whatever gifts Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you, use them for your own sake, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, anybody who goes out to relieve a person from a hardship, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala relieves him from hardships of this world as well as of the day of judgment. And whoever eases difficulty off of somebody, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ease his difficulties in this life and in the next. And he goes on, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to give it a blanket statement. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always there to aid those who are always ready to aid others. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fi awni al-abdi ma daba al-abdu fi awni akhi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you and I many opportunities. Let's use them, inshallah ta'ala, to be publicly and civically engaged and always a participant, not somebody who always dismisses and underestimate the little thing that we can offer and help with. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyina Muhammad walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.